losses. The Cavs have 7 wins. And if you want to get in on any of the action with the NFL or NBA, you better be using FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL and the NBA all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out all the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And guys, before we talk about the Cavs, our guy Shakur.
Oh, that's elite.
Great name.
That's elite.
I'm going to tell you all the legs of this parlay, and he bet $2 on it. You tell me what you think his profit is. He hit this. This is from the Cavs-Bucks game on Saturday.
Okay.
Donovan to score 30, he did. Brooke Lopez to make 2 threes, he did. Giannis, 14 or more rebounds, he did. Giannis, 8 or more assists, got it. Dean Wade, 2 threes. Torian Prince, 2 threes. Donovan, 4 threes. And Lillard, 30 points. He bet $2. What do you think the profit on that 8-part same-game parlay was?
3,486.
4,212.
Wow, I was going to say like $300 or $400.
Oh.
Jason's technically the closest.
Okay.
He won $1,523 on a $2 bet.
Wow.
So shout out to Shakur.
I was way off, though.
For the, but you went under. They went 4,000, 5,000. They doubled. You were at least within 1,000.
That's a lot.
Great W. You have a winning FanDuel ticket. Send it in to us. And guys, it was a heck of a win on Saturday. Donovan with the game winner against the Bucks. The Cavs are 7-0. The NBA's lone 7-0 team. They have a chance to go for 8-0 tonight. We'll talk about the 8-0 pursuit at the end of the show when we preview tonight's game in particular. But, Bull, you were tweeting about it. You were texting us about it. I got a text from someone in the Cavs saying, is Bull really watching or do you think he's faking it? And I told him, no, I know for a fact he's really watching. Bull, you said last week the regular season's meaningless. It doesn't matter. But you are now bought in because this Cavs team's playing at such a high level.
Did you really get a text from somebody asking
Swear
if
to
I was watching
goodness.
for
Swear, yeah, swear.
That's so funny. I was really watching, yes. It was. I'm trying to think if it was the first game. No, I watched the Knicks game, and I watched one other game. I don't remember which one.
You watched the opener against the Raptors.
Not really. I had it on, but I wasn't paying attention. I keep it real. The fourth quarter in particular. Now, listen, I'm not changing my general stance that the regular season essentially means little, if anything. But I'm kind of forcing myself to put that on the side. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get into this game tonight. A winning streak to start the season is exciting. Right? I know this wasn't to start the season, but in 2017, when the Guardians went on that winning streak, what, they went 20 in a row?
Yeah, in August.
Like, the whole town was into that.
Yeah.
Almost as much as anything involving the Guardians beside, even including some early season playoff, like early round playoff games. The whole town was abuzz. Winning streaks are exciting. Even if they ultimately don't mean much, they're exciting. The second the Cavs lose a game this year, if it's tonight or whenever, it's the excitement of their start, even though they'll still be 8-1 or 9-1, whatever, won't be as exciting. Because there's something special about a winning streak that gives you this buzzy feeling. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, all right, the Cavs are playing the Bucks. I know the Bucks are not off to a good start, but they're still the Bucks. They got Damian Lillard. They got Giannis. I'm excited about this game. So I'm locked in. But by the fourth quarter, it really at least to me, it felt like a playoff game. Because I was really into it, which is shocking because everybody knows I'm not into regular season basketball. But the way, especially at the end of the game, with both teams going back and forth, Dame Lillard playing great for them, and then for Mitchell to hit that shot to win the game with what, 0.3 left, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was awesome. That's what you want. That game, even though it's more about threes now, reminded me of watching the Saturday game or the Sunday game of the week, whatever it was, on NBC as a kid, when the great players would play, because they all played in the regular season then, and you'd have these great games you'd want to watch, and that had that kind of feeling to it. And, Giannis still had a good game. It wasn't like he was out, we'll talk about tonight later, and Lillard was playing great, and yet the Cavs found a way to pull it out on the road, and it continued the winning streak, which for me was very exciting. So, yeah, I was into it. for the first time this year. And I'll be into it tonight. I'll be locked in watching tonight. Although if Giannis doesn't play, and again we'll get to that later, that will steal some of the steam from the excitement of it to me.
This one, phew, this is different from, remember the win streak they had last year when I think it was Donovan or Darius Garland and Mobley were out. And they were rocking and rolling. We were like, oh, this team plays, this is great. This is going to be nice. And then they came back and then they kind of fell off a little bit. This is completely different. This whole vibe with them being 7-0, if you look at what they're doing, it's amazing. The offense is completely different. The ball moves side to side like I've never seen it before. Guys are playing aggressively, but the ball is finding the open guy, and guys like Isaac Okoro, he knocking down open shots.
He had a big shot late in that game, too.
Huge shot.
Great game.
He had a great game. And the most impressive part about this is the Bucks was firing on all cylinders. They came out in the first quarter and had them down almost 20 points. Damian Lillard hit something like 23s or something. Like the dude was just unconscious. Lillard kept hitting big shots after big shots. Giannis was doing his thing. But I love the fact that the Cavaliers, it mattered to them. You could see some of that grit that they had against the Knicks where they pulled that game out. They've won in every way possible that you can win. They've had some close games. They've had some blowouts. They have some coming from behind games. You get the game winner right here. And the most impressive thing about them is none of them are playing crazy minutes. Guys are playing under 30 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So they're doing this with a collective effort. I love the new offense. I love what they're doing. And by the way, they tell Darius, and this is the cool thing about it, they tell Darius Garland, hey, listen, hey, calm down, bro. If you're going to be the third best player, we can win with that. We'll win with that. Evan Mobley, hey, listen, as long as you continue to be aggressive, and you're aggressive like you are, Jared Allen don't miss shots. Isaac Okoro, Caris LeVert didn't even play in this game, and he's been hot from the outside. If Darius Garland's going to give me 11 and 10 assists, and they still win a ball game, that tells you something, Jason.
By the way, in terms of minutes, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley are averaging 29.6 minutes a game. Allen's averaging 29.3. Garland, 28.1. Dean Wade, 23.9. LeVert, 21.7. So nobody is 30 minutes or more so far.
The most telling sign to me that it was a playoff-type atmosphere, guys are on the floor. Guys don't dive on the floor in the NBA. Not in November.
Yeah.
And guys are on the floor. And you know, I'm with you. I tweeted it felt like a conference semifinal, not a random game in November.
Yeah.
And that's a game that the Cavs probably should lose. It's the second night of a back-to-back. You're on the road.
Yeah.
Like those are kind of like schedule losses. And the Bucks were playing hard because they have not played well this year.
Right.
And the Bucks are a team that they don't care about. Once you win a championship, you don't care about the regular season. You understand how long of a grind it is.
Right. But they did Saturday.
But at the same time, what are they, Mike? 1-5 now?
They're 1-5. Yeah, they needed that game. That was a game that they went out trying to win. And you could see the effort from Dame and Giannis. Like, they came out guns blazing, trying to put the Cavs away early. And kudos to the Cavs for fighting back.
So there's a balance between, all right, we don't really care about the regular season, and we can't bury ourselves in a hole before Thanksgiving to where we're climbing up the hole, you know, all season long.
Yeah.
So when Mike and I did the preseason Cavs podcast, I said the only two teams in the East that I thought were definitively better than the Cavs were the Celtics and the Bucks. We'll see as this plays out. I mean, the Cavs are obviously off to an incredible start. We talked about it last week. Kenny Atkinson said, you know, we're shooting above our heads right now. Let's just slow down a little bit. Like, this will course correct. And at some point it will course correct. But this is a really good basketball team who can win and who can beat you in a number of different ways. They're still really good defensively. The shooting has been spectacular to this point. They can score inside. They've got multiple guys who can dribble, pass, and shoot. They're built the right way, and they're incredibly deep. So it's going to be fun to watch this team go and to see how far they can actually take this. I would still for sure put Boston above them. I just think Boston is just too good. And we'll see. Cavs, Cleveland and Milwaukee, we'll see how it goes this year.
Jason, usually it takes a little bit of time if you're a stagnant offense, you just run pick and roll, and you got, you know, two ball dominant guards. Usually it takes a little bit to change the course of action about how you play. How are they just moving the ball like this? Usually you fall back into old habits, and sometimes when you, especially in crunch time, the ball sticks because you revert back to what you're doing. How are they just being able to just come in and just still keep the ball moving the entire game? That's really impressive to me.
You've got willing passers. You've got guys who are willing to give the ball up. And, I remember when I was covering the NBA every day, a lot of guys said the ball has energy. And when you pass it, you're confident you're going to get it back at the right times. And remember when we were talking throughout the summer, in the offseason, we were talking about, do you have to break up the backcourt? Do you have to break up the front court? I always thought if you have to break something up, you have to break up the front court. I thought if the outside forces would allow it, Donovan and Darius can play together. They proved it 2 years ago. It was the injuries that Darius had last year, and he had a miserable year where this idea of having to break them up came about, but they've proved in the past that they could play together. I was more concerned with the front court than I was the back court.
Yeah, me too.
And even that has worked to this point. Again, it's very early. But Evan is playing exactly the way that they envisioned that he could play. He's got the ball in his hands. He's driving to the basket. He's being aggressive. He's doing all of those things. And Kenny mentioned something the other night, actually, that I wanted to follow up on with him tonight. He mentioned about Evan being more of a wing type player, which that just sort of sent a flag up in my head, because that's always been sort of the dream with him, is if he's more of a wing, if he's a wing player and can do everything that he does, you're talking about a top 5 to 8 player in the league, like legitimately when he hits his prime, if everything comes together for him, and when you pull him out of the post and pull him to the wing. So, but the fact Kenny acknowledged like he's used him as a little bit more of a wing player, I want to follow up on that tonight.
Yeah.
But
it also makes Allen better, because then you don't have to worry that he doesn't shoot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, I'm really glad you brought this. Is something I want to talk about on the Cavs show tomorrow. We might as well do it now. I've seen a ton of premise and people taking victory laps saying, well, the Cavs, we said last year they couldn't play with 2 bigs. Like, there's not enough spacing. The funny thing is, even though they didn't change the roster, they're not playing with 2 bigs anymore. They have utilized Evan Mobley in a wing position, and by taking him off the elbow, we talked about the numbers last week, they ran the second most elbow plays in the NBA, the second most elbow touches. When you have Mobley at the elbow, Jared Allen's not spacing the floor. There's just not enough spacing. By moving Evan Mobley around like a chess piece, and Kenny Atkinson's using him essentially like a queen on a chessboard. He can go anywhere, outside, inside, in the corners, be a screener, get screens set for him. You are now playing with Evan Mobley as essentially a supersized wing, and while he may not be the greatest shooter in the world, by having him attack from different areas and starting him further away from the basket and utilizing him offensively, relatively similar to how Milwaukee tries to utilize Giannis, using his strength, his length, and his ability to get by slower defenders. Despite not changing the actual 5 guys on the court, they've completely changed the geometry of how they're running their offense, and they're not playing with 2 non-shooting bigs right now. They're playing with a big wing, 3 guards, and a center.
But they're not. He's not shooting a million threes.
But it doesn't have to.
Right, that's the thing. We kept talking about, well, he's either got to be a big man or he's got to shoot threes, but he's not doing either of those things. I mean, in a way, he's playing the wing where you traditionally would have a guy who could shoot. And even though he's not going to shoot that much from outside, from the 3-point line, it's working effectively. How much credit does Atkinson get for the growth of Mobley? I mean, do we think
a ton? Seriously, a ton.
I don't want to take away the credit from the player, though.
Well, sure, he's got to put in the work.
Yeah. But the position he's putting him at, it was very smart, because when you look at Evan Mobley, we thought, okay, wing means shoot threes. But no, Evan Mobley came back, and what he did is he came back, and now he's able to, instead of take 2 dribbles and get to the rim, Evan Mobley is comfortable taking 5, 6 dribbles. Now, he's 2-3 dribbles away from the rim, and he could go up over guys and finish with the left hand or the right hand. And then you still have off the weak side, Jared Allen is crashing the boards, and you can see Jared Allen is still getting double-digit rebounds, and that's because the spacing is great. I will also give Jason credit for this one. You've been trying to get this off for 3 years, and finally he has paid dividends. The Vanilla Wolf himself, Dean Wade. The Vanilla
Mike
Wolf.
loves him too.
He just has to stay healthy. That's his biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because
the Vanilla Wolf.
The Vanilla Wolf is out
a great
here.
Nickname.
He's out here, and he's bigger than people think. 6'9", 6'10", can shoot the open shot. I saw him on Anthony Davis. They switched off on Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis got the ball in the post. And Dean Wade wasn't giving nothing up. It wasn't like he was getting bullied. And think about that lineup now. We talked about before when we had Laurie Marketing, how that big lineup was very successful. you still got the big lineup. If you got Dean Wade playing there and Mobley can switch off on defenders, you got 2 elite rim protectors. Now, when you look at Dean Wade, he's a good plus-minus defender. He's not going to block a lot of shots, but you can switch a lot of this stuff, and you're not missing nothing. Now your 2 guards out front, even if they do get blown by, right? You still got 2 rim protectors, and the defense is able to rotate. So, to me, I was telling McNuggets, I said, man, I know they want to play Strus, but it's hard taking Dean Wade up out that lineup.
Would you keep Dean Wade in the starting lineup when Strus comes back?
You know, I was actually going to go there. We might be blowing up all of Mike's content for our Cavs show.
I might as well not even do nothing now.
And again,
We talked about it last week. You can bring it up. I think we're in line with this.
well, I don't remember what I said last week. I love what they're doing so much right now. I think I'd leave it.
Yeah, you have
I
to,
mean,
right?
Again, it's 7 games.
Sure.
2 weeks from now, this may look completely different. But
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
the way this is flowing, the way this is looking, the only trade-off by starting Dean, you have like no height coming off the bench. Like you don't have a ton of size unless you're going to play like Tristan or something like that. So that's the one downside to it. And Kenny talked about the other night that like they have sort of the big lineup and their spread lineup, and the spread lineup is all shooters with like Caris and Yang and
Merrill.
and Merrill's been great.
Yeah.
And then the big lineup is the one they start with. But this has looked so good to this point. I don't know how you go away from it. I just
You think he's going to? Not if they have a winning streak. You can't change the starting lineup if you're on a winning streak, I don't think. When's he going to be back, Strus?
it's a long time.
It's still a couple weeks. Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
So they'll lose a game by
it's
then.
more than a couple. Like
Yeah.
they're going to reevaluate 6 weeks.
I mean, I don't know why you
maybe it's a month now.
If they're 15-2 by the time he comes back, I mean, why the hell would you change the starting lineup?
I tend to agree.
It's not like he's an all-star player.
No, and the thing with Strus, too, you know, as we mentioned with Mobley being more assertive and aggressive in the offense,
Yeah.
you can only run plays for so many people in a certain stretch. And Strus is a guy who you'd want to run stuff for because he gravitates and draws the defense's attention. Dean Wade does a lot of good things. You don't have to run plays for Dean.
Right.
And that gives
Yeah.
more opportunities for Mobley, Darius,
Right.
and Donovan to do what they do.
I'm just thinking out loud, guys, so if this is stupid, fine. I don't know enough about this. You guys tell me what you think. Would it make sense, like let's say this is going really well and we're in the end of January.
Yeah.
And the Cavs are best team in the East, second best team in the East, whatever. They're playing great basketball. Dean Wade staying healthy. Would it make sense for the Cavs to consider, like Max Strus for a backup 4? Is that something that would make sense?
He makes so much money.
Yeah.
Maybe I think LeVert might make more sense in your scenario.
But isn't LeVert better than Strus? Off the
Today.
bench?
But LeVert, he has a 5-point deviation. He could be above his grade 5 or below his grade.
Yeah, you just don't know what you're
You
getting
don't
out of
know.
Caris.
All right. So Strus takes LeVert's role,
I hear what
and
you're
then
saying.
you trade LeVert for a backup big man. Is that something that they might do?
A lot of times in the NBA, it's rarely a buyer for buyer type trade.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know if you're a seller. I don't know that you want Caris or
No, that's probably
Well,
true.
Caris is expiring, so Caris could
but
be.
expiring contracts aren't what they were.
Yeah,
They ain't
Strus
what they
is
used
tough
to be.
though. Strus because he has 3 years left or 2 years
He's
after
got a
this
lot
year.
of money.
Yeah.
Is it a bad contract?
No.
No, I would not knock him for that contract. When
Okay.
they signed him, he was exactly what they needed when they picked him up. I really like Wade in that role because he's better defensively. He's better on switches than people give him credit for, probably because he's the vanilla wolf.
Yep.
Good rebounder.
He is a good rebounder, a good sound 3-point shooter. Again, you're not asking him for 2016 Kevin Love. You're
Right,
not
right,
asking
right.
for 20 and 12 every night. So I think he fills the role beautifully for what they need for him. It's just keeping this guy healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's
they
been
got
the
to keep
problem
his
the last
minutes
2
down
years.
so that
They just got to keep him healthy in April, May, and June.
One last point on Dean Wade that I think gets overlooked a lot when we figure out how he kind of fits into this rotation. If you have your 2 bigs and Dean Wade as your front court, that's a really good rebounding front court. And that allows Darius and Donovan to kind of pass up some rebounding responsibilities and get in a better position to lead a fast break and get up the court and start running. And if you have Max Strus there, well, then it's more of a team rebounding effort, and that kind of slows the pace down a little bit. And with Kenny Atkinson, who wants to run, having a bigger 3 in there, and obviously they stagger the bigs. It's not always the 2 bigs together, but when you have that starting lineup in there together, that's really advantageous for Donovan and Darius to get out in transition, quick rebound, kick it up the court, and let those two run and make something happen that you don't get if Max Strus is in at the 3.
I think if you want to catch the Celtics starting 5, if they got Porzingis that comes back, I think the Celtics have an advantage when it talks about 1 through 5. But where you can catch the Celtics is the bench. If you can get Caris LeVert and you got a guy like Max Strus that come off the bench that's able to shoot it well, Sam Merrill, Isaac Okoro's a guy.
Celtics bench is good, G.
Well, listen, I like if you can get the Cavs bench to a point where you move Strus from a starting lineup role where he can knock down shots to get him off the bench, I think the Cavs bench could be better than the Celtics. I would pick the Celtics starting lineup. I'm just trying to find areas where you match up that you can look
Last
at
year,
both of those.
The Celtics bench blew out every bench in the league. The Cavs bench could hang and go toe-to-toe, if not beat the Celtics bench, which is a giant step forward from where they were last year.
It's all a matter of who's healthy. It's so much predicated on health, obviously, in April, May, and June. But this has the potential to be – I mean, remember back 2 years ago, the Knicks series, they couldn't go 7 deep. No. You know, the Knicks
didn't have 5.
The Knicks had 9 players before the Cavs had their
They've had injury problems both of the last 2 years.
And they just weren't very deep a couple years ago.
Right.
They have fixed that. That's one of the things, I've mentioned this a couple times, that's so fascinating to me in this new world NBA, the fact that they've got all of these guys locked up now as the cap goes up, and they are going to make moves. To your point about making, I believe that they're going to do something to get under. They're like $2.5 million over the tax line, so they have to shed some salary between now and February. I think Ty Jerome is an easy option. That's an easy one to dump, but we'll see. Like they're
played well though.
Yeah, I know, but you don't. If you're going to go over the tax, you don't want to go over the tax for $2 million. Like if you want to go to the tax, you want to really go into the tax.
Good point.
Yeah. So they've got decisions they got to make coming up, but they got it rolling right now. It's fun to watch.
It is.
We're going to come back and talk Cavs, more specifically preview tonight's game against Milwaukee as they look for an 8-0 start to the season, which would tie the franchise record in a little bit. But